is from section 1.2, and there's just a couple things that I want to go through on this. The first one has to do with order of operations. All right, when you're dealing with order of operations, what is the saying that kind of gives you the order of operations? You guys remember? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So PEMDAS. Okay, and so the P stands for the parentheses, any grouping symbol. The E stands for exponents. M, multiply. D, divide. There is really no priority among those two. So if you're multiplying and dividing, you're just going to move from left to right. And then finally, the A stands for add, B, or the S stands for subtract. Once again, there's no priority between those two. They have the same priority. So whichever one is further to the left will be done first, and you just go in that order. Okay, so again, this should be something that isn't unfamiliar to you guys. When you're dealing with the order of operations, the thing that often causes the most confusion are exponents. Okay, so if we look at these two forms, a negative 3 squared versus the quantity negative 3 squared. And when you're dealing with powers, the power is in this exponent form, or this exponent step. The power is only going to apply to the base that it's attached to. Okay, so when you look at this first number and you go through order of operations, what happens first? Multiplying the 3 by the sign that represents opposite, so a negative 1, or taking the base of 3 and squaring it. What happens first in this order of operations? Exponents or multiplying? Exponents. So the square only applies to the base of 3. So what you wind up getting is negative times the quantity 3 squared, or 3 times 3, which is 9. And so that's how you would evaluate this by hand. Okay, on the other hand, when you look at the second example, the power of 2 applies to the base, that is this compound base, a negative and a 3. And so the whole thing gets squared. So really what we're looking at in that is negative 3 times negative 3. There's our squaring, or repeated multiplication. And so in looking at that, negative 3 times negative 3, you get a positive 9. Right? Doing this by hand often leads to mistakes. Doing it by a calculator, if you type it exactly as it appears, the TI-89 has a built-in system of order of operations. And so you don't even have to worry about it. If you type this in and you say negative 3 squared, so it looks exactly like it did here. It's entered the exact form that it appears or displays. And now notice the negative for the change of sign is different than the subtraction key. And the negative for the change of sign is located right beneath the 3. So you hit a negative, then the 3. And to the power of, or to identify exponents, you're going to use this caret symbol, which is right above the division symbol on the calculator. And then you just put the power in there. Okay, so you get negative 3 quantity squared. And when you see, it confirms that negative 9 is our solution. And when you do the same thing by putting grouping, the negative 3 inside grouping symbols, and you hit enter, it also confirms that we did it right when we did it by hand here.